have called Rielle Hunter every married woman's nightmare, this sexy blonde who husbands can't resist. Others call her one of politics' most infamous other women for her affair with former presidential candidate John Edwards, whom she calls Johnny, and it resulted in their love child and derailed his presidential ambitions. But now she's telling her side in the new book, What Really Happened. Please welcome Rielle Hunter. A lot going on, a lot very emotional. But the big news today is that, well, last week we saw pictures of you with John and your little girl, Quinn. Very lovey-dovey pictures. Oh, you can see them together, and you were very much together. And today we hear you've broken up.
Yes.
What happened, and how do you feel?
It's very painful. And I have mixed emotions.
Did you break it up, or did he break it up?
I think that when people break up, both sides come to the table with things to break up over. So we both agree that it's best for us at this time.
But let me just continue with this one. Was it because, I mean, you did an interview last week, just on Friday, and everything seemed wonderful. This is just a few days later. Was it because of anything that came out in your book? I'd heard that maybe it was because you mentioned that he had pretended to have other mistresses. Was it anything in your book or a previous interview that caused this?
For me, no. For me, it is, I don't want to hide anymore. And I don't want to hide our relationship anymore. And it's very hard under all the media scrutiny and the complications with the family, you know, with Quinn and with the other children. Our relationship is very complicated and hard. And for me, it's taken a toll. And I don't want to hide.
But now it doesn't look like you were hiding.
But now you don't have to hide. But what about him? Why did he want it over?
Wait.
Go ahead.
Sorry. What about John, whom you call Johnny? Why did he want it over? Now you can settle down.
You have to ask him that. I can tell you my reasons, because I don't want to speak for him.
Okay.
But for my reasons, I'm not a mistress. I'm a mom. And I don't want to hide. And because we have such media scrutiny, and because of the children, our relationship is hard. It's hard for us to go to restaurants. It's hard for us to go to the movies. Like, it's hard.
Rielle, you can't expect to, and I understand this is a complex situation, right? Certainly not my situation, certainly not anyone here's situation. It's yours uniquely. But when you say, I'm a mom, not a mistress, there are layers there, right? Because, truth be told, you were a mistress. I mean, he was married to Elizabeth Edwards until her death. They never divorced, correct? And then in the book, you're critical of her, right? So you have to understand how the public may feel a little bit differently about you. You called her crazy, venomous, fits of rage. You described her behavior as in denial about her husband's cheating, and you actually blamed her for driving him into the arms of other women. Do you feel, do you blame her for your cheating with him?
Do I blame Elizabeth for...
You said you blame, there was some blame in the book saying she led him to act this way with other women. Do you think that she had responsibility?
She was so difficult. That's what your book.
Right, like her behavior pushed him out the door to say you. Do you think that's true?
I believe that their problems in their marriage did not, helped him to find another way.
You know, Rielle...
I don't think it's right to do that, but I believe that's
not right.
Infidelity?
Oh, on your part.
On anyone's part.
Yeah, so you don't think it's right.
I'm not a big believer in infidelity.
You're not?
I became something, I fell in love with him, which was a surprise to me, and I became that in order to be with him.
But, you know, Rielle,
I gotta say this because, you know, I hear everything you're saying, but in your book, you trash a dead lady whose husband you had an affair and a baby with. Did it not occur to you that maybe that might not be the right tone to take? Particularly if you're trying to get people to see you as part of this sort of new couple. I mean, it's kind of a crappy thing to do.
I wrote the book to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And what I was told about their marriage along the way, you know, this was a long relationship for many years. Right. And my experience of their dynamic, I was truthful about.
Yeah, but why did you need to? You could have the truth and know it, but to then put it out there, it makes you look bad. It makes you look schemy and kind of heartless.
To some people it may. But right now, the personas are of Elizabeth being a saint and John Edwards being a demon.
Rielle.
And
man, I'm gonna finish. I'm sorry, let you
finish. And me as a homewrecker. And that those aren't true personas.
But Rielle, you had unprotected sex with a married man and had a baby and then allowed people to pretend it wasn't happening. I mean, you put an entire nation in a very awkward position. You have to see where people are coming from, surely.
I do see where people are coming from.
That's
I absolutely see that.
Just to add to the idea, another thing, I don't want it to be such an accusatory thing going on here, but we have to ask you certain questions. Like you say, you're not a fan of infidelity, but the guy is in a hotel room and you go up to him and say, you're so hot. You know he's married. You know who he is. Isn't that asking the guy to be unfaithful to his wife when you come on to him like that?
No, I didn't feel that was a come on. When I said it, it flew out of my mouth. And if you read the book, you'll see.
I did read the book. I told you, it was either you or Marcel Proust.
Most guys would be turned on by that, right? I mean, most guys hope that someone says that to them.
He liked it.
Just
he
do
did.
them. Of course he
liked it. He definitely liked it.
But I mean,
that wasn't my intention.
It just flew out of your mouth?
It did.
You're so hot?
Because his friend...
Really?
His friend had told him he is hot. I was surprised to discover that he was.
That's a matter of opinion.
How would you feel if another woman came up to him during your relationship and said that to him while you're with him, though, right? So I guess that's where the other side comes from. Like, you would think another woman was coming up to him, hitting on him, if she said that to him when you were in love with him.
I said it in... Right? Yeah, I would. I said it in response to his reaction to seeing me. So it was the way he responded to me, that's what came flying out of my mouth. I'm not saying it's right. No. I'm just saying that's what happened.
Yeah, we got it.
You know what? You tried in your way to be honest in your book. You're trying to be honest now, and we appreciate it. We've got some questions to ask. Stay with us, okay? We'll be right back with Rielle.
We're back with Rielle Hunter. Rielle, as a person who went through this, because I have my own issues of infidelity.
We've heard about it a million times.
I've talked about it all the time.
It's okay.
But I have to say, because I didn't want to read your book, and I read the book, and there were some things as a wife that I had to highlight and take some pointers about on how to make a marriage better. One of the things you said a woman is naive if she thinks that she's married to her husband and she's not giving him sex, that he's not having sex with somebody else. And you made John Edwards feel. You believed in his dreams. You made him feel at times like, I think John Edwards felt like he could walk on the moon after he left you. And it seemed to be, you were saying, Elizabeth Edwards didn't do that. So as a wife, I'm sitting here going, do we forget to do that sometimes in our marriage? We forget to validate our husbands. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was married. We do. I mean, women do, because, most men are annoying, let's face it,
Most men are annoying?
Most men are a bit annoying. We, as women, we get annoyed and then we forget.
Do you think Elizabeth Edwards maybe had an unfair advantage? I mean, you guys were meeting, it was, pretty clandestine. You were going out.
Let me just say, their marriage was way off way before I got there.
Yeah.
I mean, way off. So if it wasn't, there'd be someone else sitting here.
On that timeline, John and Elizabeth renewed their wedding vows in July 2007 while you were pregnant. Correct. So you praise him in the book. You think he's like the best guy, but he seems to be, to everybody else in the naked eye, duplicitous, right? So how do you put faith in a man?
I praise him all through that book. I show many sides to him that are human.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. You're in love with him, so that it's weighted on one side,
yes.
sure.
I'm more sympathetic to him.
How do you trust him, knowing that he had the ability to just pull one over on his family?
And the nation.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I was trying to not get political about that.
Let's not forget that.
How do you trust him? How do you put faith in a man like that?
I put faith in myself. I trust myself.
Okay.
So I trust my judgments of people. I don't push my trust outside of me.
You made a sex tape with him. Whose idea was that anyway? Was that yours or his? Just curious.
That was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah. I never saw it.
Can I go on to something that's much more...
Right, sure.
Forgive me, but there are some... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I had a good follow-up.
Because what happens...
Very
important parts of this that we're
I'm
not
just
getting
curious
to.
about one little thing about that sex tape. Because when you were living with Andrew Young and everything, he found the tape. Don't you think that there's some unconscious behavior that you left a tape like that around to be found?
No.
No. You deliberately left it?
No, it was buried in my personal belongings. You have to go rifling through looking for something.
Barbara.
It wasn't.
I'm trying to get to two of the most important things that happened in the relationship. First of all, you have a child by him, and he goes on television and denies it.
Right.
When Elizabeth was saying, you know, how do you praise him? That must have made you feel awful, didn't it?
It was devastating. It's the
Okay,
most
so that's
devastating moment of
devastating.
my life, yes.
Okay. I can understand that. You know, here you have this baby, and he's saying publicly, not my baby. The second thing is he makes his aide, Andrew Young, whom you mentioned.
Right.
He didn't make his aide.
Okay.
Andrew Young offered, and he took him up on his offer.
Okay, but Andrew Young was
claim paternity.
Andrew Young was his, at that point, devoted, loyal, whatever. Claims that your baby is really his baby. John Edwards goes along with it. You go along with it. Wow. I mean, that's pretty crazy stuff that you're all agreeing
Insane.
to.
Insane.
So how do you explain it?
It's the only time in my life I have gone down a road that I knew was the wrong road to go on before I went down it. Because usually I make a decision like, okay, I'm on board with this. This is a good path to go. This is like, okay, all of you people are crazy and this is insane. And okay, I'm going down too. And
You know, that was the first time?
that I went down the road.
I'm just wondering, like, I'm shocked.
In your book, you say when you went up to his room the very first time you met John Edwards, you were actually going up to coach him about life, and everything that you believed in, you let go because of his charisma and his magnetism. So
I don't know. I think it's something more than that, more than the charisma and the magnetism, and it's real love because I love him, and I still love him, and we have a wonderful, wonderful child because of it. So there's something else
work
more.
on things.
I have to just, we're going to ask you to come back, but I have my own little bone to pick with you having read the book, okay? Because you and I have met before. Today is not our first day. So
And we have mutual friends.
And we have some mutual friends. Okay. In your book, you say that I wanted to do an interview with you, which of course was true. I even had you come to my apartment, which I never do, but you wanted to keep the baby secret, so, you know, okay. And then you say that when you decided to do the interview with Oprah, which you told me was for spiritual reasons, that I screamed at you and I bullied you. In 30 years of doing interviews, I've never screamed at anyone. I make people cry, but I don't scream, and I have no idea what you mean by bullying. So that's my objection. We'll give you, you want to answer that?
I do, because I remember that differently. And it was before you were about to go away on vacation, and you didn't want to lose my interview before you went away on vacation. And I had done those ridiculous things in GQ, that pictures, and you were very upset about that.
I don't even remember pictures. What I'm saying is I have done thousands of interviews. I've lost many. I've never screamed, and I don't know how I could have bullied you.
She doesn't yell.
Maybe
We worked
felt
with her
it,
for decades.
that you were getting scolded,
But
maybe.
we'll
You might not be able to hear her, but she's never yelling.
And I don't know how I
This
would
is
have
not the first time, nor will it be the last, that two people remember an event differently.
Right. And that's what I wanted to point out. My memory of it was that you called me and you said you felt much more spiritual with Oprah. Oprah does wonderful interviews, and I understand. Okay?
Yes.
So we'll be right back with more Rielle, okay? I got my say. We are back with Rielle Hunter. You know, other women have had affairs. You've had, yeah, I know you're surprised. You have had a very topsy-turvy life, to say the least, and we appreciate your coming on with us. So, because we've asked some tough questions.
How was it for you?
So,
I actually liked it. I like to come back.
where do you go from here? Who supports you? How do you live? Who takes care of you?
Well, I don't know. I have a book now.
Okay, you'll make some money, and then what? That's going to be over.
I really don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Quinn, does she have interaction with Jack and Emma in terms of like family? Does she know about them?
Oh, yeah, they're siblings.
Cute. Look at her.
Do they see each other?
Will they mind what you said about their mother?
Wow, lots of questions.
No time to answer, by the way.
I believe that the kids have the right to their privacy, so I don't want to talk about them. Yeah.
Rielle, thank you for being on with us.
Thanks
You
for
were
having me.
honest, and we appreciate your being with us. So, we thank Rielle Hunter. Members of our audience are going home with a copy of her book, What Really Happened, and you can make your own judgment. In the meantime, take a little time, you too, take a little time to enjoy
The long view.
The view. The long view.
Summer afternoons are about to get brighter, more fun, more entertaining. So get ready to say good afternoon, America, starting